What is something that never stops being awkward? When someone comes up to you that you haven't seen in so long that you've forgotten their name, and they yell hi, followed by your name. Then they come up and start talking to you. It's even worse when you know you've seen them somewhere but for the life of you, you cannot remember where. Then, for the entire conversation, you're trying to stealthily piece together clues as to who the hell they are and where the fuck you know them from. I'm horrible with putting names to faces, so this happens to me quite frequently, unfortunately. Edit, obligatory thanks for gilding me, oh noble stranger. When someone waves at you from across the room and you wave back. But it turns out they were waving to their friend who is standing right behind you. So there you are, suddenly going from a "hey somebody wants to say to me hi friend" to standing there, feeling and looking like an asshole with your hand in the air like some kind of dysfunctional bobblehead. A teenage boy is getting ready to take his girlfriend to the prom. First he goes to rent a tux, but there's a long tux line at the shop and it takes forever. Next, he has to get some flowers, so he heads over to the florist and there's a huge flower line there. He waits forever but eventually gets the flowers. Then he heads out to rent a limo. Unfortunately, there's a large limo line at the rental office, but he's patient and gets the job done. Finally, the day of the prom comes. The two are dancing happily and his girlfriend is having a great time. When the song is over, she asks him to get her some punch, so he heads over to the punch table and there's no punchline. Edit, gold. Wah. Thanks so much. When you're with a group of people and you start telling a story and you notice that all the others have quit chit-chatting with each other to hear your story. This is when you realize that your story isn't interesting at all but you set it up to be with the way you started. But you keep going until your story's over and you just stand there. And you can feel the disappointment in the listeners. Doing that stupid little dance when you try not to walk head-on into a stranger. I read in a Reddit thread somewhere that if you don't make eye contact with oncoming people, they will naturally avoid you. I've tried it, and can confirm that it works. So, just pretend you are the T-1000 looking for Eddie Furlong, and people will no longer do the awkward shuffle with you in a crowded place. Note that if the oncoming person is doing the same thing, prepare for disaster. I always find it awkward when people try to speak to me when I'm clearly busy chewing something. I'm not talking about dinner table conversation, where you expect it. I mean those times when someone swoops in on you when you're in mid-chew, and they expect answers to things. And you do that lame little smile/grimace while gesturing that you're just going to finish chewing. But their eyes on you causes the food to immediately taste like cardboard as you desperately try to chew and swallow. And then when you begin to speak, you can't help but wonder if that undignified way of eating inevitably left food in your teeth. Saying hi to someone in a store and then you run into them again on the next aisle. Usually more than once. I hate this. Especially since you say alright, nice seeing you, I'm going to go buy some stuff now. Then you see them on the next aisle and are all like, oh you again. Then it happens again and you're like, fuck it, I'm leaving, I didn't need eggs anyways, fucking Brian. This weatherman, fucking crazy, am I right? Oh, yeah, I guess so. Hold on mate, there is some freak that thinks I am talking to them. Yeah, sorry, I'm actually on the phone, back. Man, some people are just pathetic. Anyway, about the game the other day. And it is always in the bathroom too. Breaking the ice on the first day of class. This shit is so ineffective. It's not even an icebreaker, it's just everyone nervously waiting their turn to go. The last time I had to do one of these, I said I have eczema. The woman making us do the stupid icebreaker looked really uncomfortable. My professor asked us to tell a little something about ourselves. It gets to my turn. I just got off a 4-year service in the army. Totally awkward silence. Everyone else in my class isn't even old enough to drink, and here I am, a 23-year-old war vet. My professor decides to make it 100 times more awkward. Let us take a moment and give Doc_Birdman a round of applause and a thank you for his service to our country. Right. Now I have to sit there and just... I don't fucking know. Smile? Say thanks. Talking to someone and then running out of things to say while you just stand there in an empty void of silence. Edit, I should probably add that I actually prefer silence, but only when it's a close friend or a conversation hasn't started up or one that ended fine. If it's a stranger or the conversation ended oddly, then that's when it starts getting awkward. This one time in high school, Spanish, everyone immediately paired up around me, no open groups, so I just decided to study the vocabulary quietly by myself instead of admitting, publicly, that I was unable to find a partner. 5 minutes or so into the exercise, my teacher notices that I'm not talking to anyone, roars out for an explanation of what I'm doing, and calls me to the front of the class too. I don't know, shame me, I guess. It was super weird. Fuck Spanish. Elevators. Always awkward. I'm not even kidding, guys. Once, I was in an elevator with a bride and groom, an older couple, and me holding a pizza. Then another lady came in with donuts. We all chit-chatted about how we'd be okay if the elevator went down because we had pizza and donuts. We told the newlyweds congrats and agreed it was the best elevator we'd ever had. Having happy birthday sung to you. I never fucking know what to do. Do I just look down and smile? Do I have to watch? Should I sing too? The song is everybody else's revenge for the fact you get all of the attention and presents. They get to smile and laugh at how awkward you're getting while they sing, and you just sit there and tremble in anxiety that you're doing it wrong. Or you're stressing yourself out for no reason, just chill and be happy that you're about to eat cake. When someone holds the door open for you but you're a little too far away and then they end up standing at the door waiting for you. This isn't awkward at all. If the door's being held for you, don't be an asshole, add a little pep to your step. If you're holding the door, continue looking at the place you're trying to get to. If you take a peek back and they don't notice you're holding the door or they're taking their sweet time, keep walking. You're doing them a courtesy, you're not obligated to hold that door until they get there. Edit, since people are getting into specifics, give a little more effort if you're within a reasonable distance. If the door would naturally close before you got there, wave them off and say thanks anyway. It's the acknowledgement, not the actual act of getting to the door, that's about being a good person. Edit 2, till vocal redditors are dickheads. Saying goodbye to someone then realizing they're going the same way as you. Yes, going back to awkward small talk after a long drawn out good seeing you, we'll have to catch up again soon, give me a call, see you later is the worst. Oh ha 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 hey, looks like we're going the same way. Edit, thanks, benefactor. You're doing it wrong. You're supposed to walk the opposite way for a while, then turn around and go where you need to go. But you have to look at your phone first before you turn around. But what if you both do this? I'm picturing two people taking off in opposite directions, both stopping to look at their phone, then both saying oh shit. And turning around only to pass each other where they had said their goodbyes. I think at that point they'd both mumble fuck me. And continue on their way without making eye contact. Shitting loudly in the public restroom. Also, that I know you're about to take a loud shit standoff you get into when it's just you and one other person in the bathroom and they're sitting quietly in the stall, holding back the fecal hordes and biding their time until you leave. We both know what's happening, just take a shit, man. The sheer panic-inducing moment when, having used up all of the 3 allotted watts. When failing to hear what someone says, being forced to do the nervous and very awkward half laugh you're hoping it wasn't a question. Edit, thanks for the gold kind stranger. Fuck yay, if I weigh what I'll pardon more than once, the is a good change I genuinely can't understand, try speaking louder or more clearly, not just say it in exactly the same way you just did. Yes, I'm speaking to you, Victor from Nigeria, that was in some lecture with me. English may be your first language, but trust me, it's not me, it's you. Having no comeback to an insult. This may sound insane, but I have a method that kinda works to help with this. What I do is have imaginary conversations with people when I'm alone. Like when I'm driving, I pretend they're riding shotgun. I hold both sides of the conversation, imagining how other people would act in certain situations. I know my friends and co-workers enough to know the types of things they'd say. I've occasionally hurt my own feelings doing this and being mad at someone for what my imagination came up with. I get over it quick though. Can't be mad at someone cause I talk to myself. Maybe when a conversation comes up it isn't exactly how I've planned, but I've got enough of an idea that I have little one-liners set up in advance. I'll tweak them a bit for the present topic, but I've already got things lined up. However, I find that when I'm imagining someone in my passenger seat I get a bit odd. I'll be having these imaginary arguments with nobody, and I'll drive by a friend's house and then begin to tell them a story about that friend. Like, a party we had there, or the time he tried to claim a tree as his country while on shrooms. You know, stuff that just happens. And so here I am. Coming up with all these great zings while plotting possible conversations and getting distracted by playing a tour guide to my ghost rider. I'm not sure that'll help you out, but it's how I do it. Sincerely feel bad for them, I'm sure it isn't pleasant. I just pretend I haven't heard it, or it was a joke, and then I start a new topic of conversation. I feel bad for people who are too socially awkward to find new topics, though. If worse comes to worst, just talk about yourself. Egotistical babbling is better than nothing. Edit, people seem to be ignoring what I was responding to. I mean inane babbling in response to someone saying well this is awkward, making the situation insanely awkward. If you can't fight the awkwardness by gracefully moving to a new interesting topic, or riding out the silence, then inane babbling might be better. I am not advocating inane babbling to fill any silence. I dislike talking to people who constantly feel the need to talk, because they clearly have some problems simply being with their own thoughts. And I am not being condescending to people who find it difficult to move on to new topics. When the toilet gets clogged at another person's home. I was on the yearbook staff in high school. The teacher that was in charge invited the staff over and took us to Mongolian barbecue. On the way back to her house for dessert, my stomach started to hurt. I have no problem making poops at other people's houses, so I went and did my thing. It wasn't pleasant. When I flushed, nothing happened. I flushed again and it started to rise. I had that panic moment when you hope for God that it'll stop at the top and not overflow. It didn't overflow, but I also couldn't find a plunger. I was in there for a while, trying to resolve this situation myself, but eventually gave up. I got my teacher and asked her if she had a plunger, and she walks to the bathroom and puts her hand on the flush, then says, "You have to wiggle it a little. Everything goes down the toilet." Wiggle it? Wiggle it? When you see someone you know way down the hallway, and you both pretend you didn't see each other until you're a comfortable distance away. I would make a game out of it. Hello Michael. Looking forward to seeing you soon. That, or get a pair of binoculars and take them out anytime you see someone. Is that? Oh, it is? Hi Mike. But then it becomes awkward if you don't do it the next time. Then you start doing it every time because you don't want that awkward silence. Then it becomes annoying and awkward for the other person, knowing they are expecting you to do something to make it not awkward. Then they start avoiding you in that hallway. When you see them again anywhere but the hallway, they'll feel awkward knowing they have been avoiding you, and you'll awkwardly ask them why you haven't seen them for a while. It all just becomes a hot mess. Or accidentally making a noise that vaguely resembles a fart, then frantically trying to reproduce the same sound to clarify that you didn't just gas the room. This was one of those scenarios where a spectacular metaphor would have been nice. Unfortunately, I let you all down. Asking to be paid back money. Oh man, I really hate doing this. I let friends borrow money all the time and usually say something like just pay me back by the end of the month. Those times when I need that money though, I always feel a bit sheepish asking for it back. I don't even know why. It's my money and they had no problem asking to borrow it, so why am I so awkward about asking to be paid back? I don't know if this is just a woman thing, but the first time you eat in front of a potential significant other, I always feel like all eyes are on me and I become so self-conscious. This is why I never do salads. A lot of girls seem to think salads are healthy and dainty, a great food to order. No way. I have yet to figure out how to eat a salad gracefully. All the awkward shaped lettuce, dressing on the corners of my mouth, stabbing a crouton and it shoots off your plate. Then again, maybe I'm just terrible at eating. Cleaning up after sex, they never show that in the movies. You look at your partner when you're done and you both go ready. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and try not to get cum all over yourselves or the bed. My husband is a gentleman. He always rolls right over and grabs his discarded t-shirt and hands it to me before we get all post-coital cuddly. Unless it's been a while, I can tilt my hips to keep it all in there for the 3 seconds it takes. Except for that bit that only leaks out when I sneeze or cough half an hour later. Conference calls where there's a delay in the sound. You finish what you're saying and there's a huge silent pause and you're not sure if it was the stupidest thing ever uttered in the history of commerce, so you go to add something else to cut the tension right as somebody else's response comes across, and you both stop and encourage the other to go ahead. Oh my god, just email me. Being at a stop sign, they were clearly there first, but they try to give you the go ahead. You wave back the no, you go ahead, you were here first wave, then nothing. Then you both start going at the same time, and eventually you just speed through the intersection thinking fucking idiots but waving thank you with a happy smile. When you accidentally make eye contact with the same person about 20 times and end up looking like a stalker,